What is up, guys? Welcome. Crypto FUD. And let's jump right into this, guys. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. Hope you had a safe weekend. Anybody that's affected with the storm, hope you guys are doing good. Let's jump into here. So, guys, let's see here. Flips in the house. TJ, what's going on? What is going on, guys? Well, let's just jump right into this. We'll let everybody trickle in. What's going on with the market today, guys? What's going on? Well, if you guys are living under a rock, you didn't see that Jerome Powell was coming out and talking today. Basically, just giving you guys an update, giving all of us an update on what's going on with the economy and his opinion and what's going on moving forward with the Feds in regards to reduction in interest rates, unemployment, all that good stuff. So I'm sure you guys have seen it live, or you saw other people talking about it, after the fact. Pretty much my take from it, and I did not watch it live. I did see little bits and pieces of it because I was on the go today. But from what I'm seeing is that, Jerome Powell came out today and he was kind of, he wasn't the dovish that we were looking for as far as him being very, just very enthusiastic about reducing interest rates, right? He pretty much was just saying, like he's been kind of talking about unemployment, right? And you're wondering, well, why do the markets come down? Well, we saw the markets kind of moving down from last night, this morning, obviously going into this meeting, right? Just because of the uncertainty. We didn't see any kind of a big bounce as of now, right? You can see Bitcoin sitting at around 63,700, somewhere around there, really sitting right on this 200-day moving average. And we're going to cover this, and we're going to talk about this here in a second. But really, from what I'm taking from what Jerome Powell came out and said today was really that they're just focused solely on unemployment as a big thing for right now, right? And I told you guys this, before. Unemployment rate, I do think that it's a lot higher than what we're being told. I think Jerome Powell can see that, but he doesn't want to spook the markets or anything like that. But we have unemployment numbers coming out on Friday of this week, right? Are they going to be good? Are they going to be bad? I'm honestly thinking that it doesn't matter what actually is going on. I think that they're going to give us numbers that they want us to have, right? I don't think they're trying to cause a crash in the market, but they're also trying to keep the markets from really going very parabolic for right now. With that being said, you saw his language come out today, wasn't very hawkish, but at the same time wasn't very dovish. It was kind of just a, we'll have to continue to monitor the situation, really unemployment. And I think that right there left a lot of uncertainty on the table for a lot of investors, a lot of people. And that's why we saw kind of a downward move for today. What do I think moving on for this week, moving forward? I think we're still on track in regards to us, having some good numbers as far as with the crypto, with the, us ending these months in some solid green numbers. October, November, December, and even going into the first quarter of 2025. We've said this before. A lot of people have said this before. The election is most likely going to give us some volatility as well, right? We have the election coming out literally in a month, a little over a month from now, right? I think as we start getting closer to the election, as we get on to the election, like that week, we're going to have some volatility because, again, it's uncertainty, right? The markets don't know who's going to win. Even though I keep telling you guys it does not matter as far as with crypto, right? We're not getting into policies. Whoever you're voting for, that's great. I don't really judge anybody on their what their political views. But as far as crypto as standing, I think Bitcoin's going to do exactly what Bitcoin's going to do, regardless of whoever wins, right? Obviously, we have we do have a candidate that's really speaking a little bit more pro crypto versus another one that's kind of it's been a little bit quiet, and I think that right there is maybe why people are like, well, if he gets elected, crypto's going to do a lot better versus if she gets elected, crypto's going to probably, or the markets are going to probably come down temporarily, right? We'll have to see how it goes. I think regardless if we do see that downward move, no matter what, it's going to rebound pretty quick. The dust will clear. You know how people are, especially with crypto, a week or two down the road, and it's all forgotten. So with that being said, Jerome Powell obviously spoke today. Carlos, what's going on? He said he's listening while he's at work. Hell yeah. Get that money and get the knowledge, bro. Overcome. Jay, Amor, what's going on, boys? So like I said, as far as with Jerome today, pretty much, in my opinion, it was just really just him saying over and over that we have to focus on the jobs, unemployment. Obviously a lot of other things are still pushing for that 2% inflation right? Which, is obtainable, I think over time, right? The last bit that we're at right now, inflation being at a little over 3%, I think that last 1%, us getting down to that 2% inflation, is going to take time. It's going to take time. It's not going to move, obviously, as fast as we saw this 9%. Remember, we were at 9% like a year and a half ago. We saw it rapidly start to decrease because it moved up so fast, right? So it came down almost as fast as it came up, but these last little bits are going to take some time, and I think that the Feds understand that. So do I think that they're going to continue to reduce interest rates for the remainder of the year? I do. I think this job reports coming out, the unemployment on Friday is going to be a big thing. I really do think it's going to be a big thing. And I do think that we're going to see some volatility like we've seen today. It's going to probably continue for the rest of this week. I know you guys don't want to hear that, but it's probably going to continue for the rest of this week, right? Because there's just uncertainty for this week with these numbers coming out. So it is what it is. If you're looking for a dip, you might get a small one. I don't think that we're going to be really retracing down to anything, that we've seen in the last month or two, as long as these unemployment numbers don't come out and hit us with the shock, right? What are some bad unemployment numbers? Well, let's cover this because this is a big deal, guys. This is something that we obviously are going to be watching very closely. So right now, non-farm payrolls, this is basically how many jobs did the U.S. create on the last month, right? Right now, we're forecast to come out with 140. Previous was 142, right? We want to see that 140 or higher. That's going to be a plus. If we see, if we see like 130, 120, anything below those numbers, it's going to scare the markets, and we're going to kind of get back into that recession scare kind of mode in the markets, right? So we want to see obviously higher numbers being created on this non-farm, and then unemployment rate. If you guys can see, look at unemployment. Previous 4.2, we're forecast to come again at 4.2%, right? Meaning that unemployment, by their numbers, has been flatlined for the last 2 to 3 months. I don't believe it. I really don't believe it because I saw today more headlines, big techs, with their layoffs and stuff like that. Even though you're not talking about millions of jobs, you're talking about, thousands of potential jobs being lost. I saw the automotive, some big automotive, companies laying off, workers and stuff like that. It just, to me, it seems like the numbers are a little bit skewed. But at the end of the day, if they're gonna they're gonna provide these numbers and help the markets at least not crash, perfectly fine on my opinion. Just because obviously, if we see those unemployment numbers continue to spike, we see the payrolls as in like the jobs created come down, right? They're not creating as much. That is going to scare the hell out of the market, and that's going to prolong what we've been kind of running for as far as this last quarter being really well, as far as like the crypto and the stocks and the whole market, right? And then obviously the first quarter 2025 as well. This is going to basically prolong all this from happening, and it could prevent it ultimately from happening as well if it gets to a certain level, right? And I think that's why you're seeing a little bit of a sell-off. It's pretty much, you have majority of the market, right, is still fine, right? You have maybe 5% of the market that's kind of just like, they didn't really like what Jerome Powell said today. We have the unemployment numbers coming out on Friday. They're probably like, you know what, I'm going to sell off and I'm going to sit on the sidelines for right now, and we'll see how this works. So, but at the end of the day, guys, I wouldn't be too worried as of now. Obviously, you guys can see when you zoom out, right, we're still perfectly fine. Bitcoin right now sitting at around 63,600. And something that I wanted to bring up is that you guys can see for the daily, looking at Bitcoin, we have been hovering around our 200-day moving average, right? We've found support at some times, and we keep breaking below at sometimes. It's like it's been teeter-tottering. You guys can see, obviously, right now we are a little bit below. Let me zoom in a little bit so that the 200-day moving average is going to be around that 63,000 for right now, 63,800 we'll say, right? So let's zoom out or zoom in a little bit on the 30-minute. And you guys can see, obviously, these 200-day and 50-day moving averages are a little bit different because I just moved to the 30-minute. But you guys can see that if we were to map out the 200-day for right now, I'm just going to put a line for the 200-day, it would be 63,800, somewhere roughly around this area right here. So you guys can see, we technically, when you zoom in, we broke below, and we basically have not been able to find some support again on the 200-day moving average. And this is what was happening last week. We were pretty much, if you can see, I'll stretch this line all the way across, right? And you can see the same thing. This is basically the 200-day moving average, the equivalency. And you can see we were basically just hitting our head on this until we broke out, right? We had this nice breakout, but obviously with the uncertainty of this week, we saw the breakdown for now, right? And you can see we basically are hitting our head on that 200-day for right now. Now, we want to hover around this area. We want to honestly have support above. We want to see us above this 200-day. But at least if we can stay around this area and at least keep retesting it, I have no, it doesn't put any kind of fear, as far as I'm worried or anything like that. I think we're perfectly fine for right now. This is basically playing out naturally, given Jerome Powell talking today, the way he spoke, right? Just was kind of on the fence. We didn't see any dovish. If you were really to look at it, it was kind of more slightly hawkish, right? And that's why we saw the markets kind of move down. And then we have, numbers coming out this week that are uncertain. We don't know what unemployment's going to be, and they had to freaking put it right on Friday. So we have to go through all this crap for the next 5 days. So welcome, guys. I hope you guys are ready for this week because it's going to be a little bumpy road. It's going to be a bumpy road here. Amor said, the latest member stream has been the motivation I needed to keep my eyes on the prize. Hell yeah, bro. I appreciate that. And Amor's talking about us. We do have members-only streams. We stream usually once every weekend, and we basically just go through a lot of stuff that we don't cover on the actual stream. And pretty much smaller crowd, you guys can pretty much just sit there and pick my brain and talk amongst each other, and we pretty much just cover everything that we need to cover for the week coming up. And pretty much, if we're doing leverage trading that week or whatever the case is, that's pretty much what we do. $5 to join. Make sure you guys hit that join button and become a member, and your name becomes green, and you have a bunch of emojis, right? Hit it up. Light, what's going on, bro? My boy Light comes and he goes. He comes, he's here for a little while, and then you won't see him for 4 weeks, a month, 2 months, and then he pops back up and he's like, yo, what's up, bro? Light said there's a lot of jobs not being reported, and remember, they cut the rates just like the housing crash in 2008. By October, the old system is breaking down. Glad I am in crypto, physical gold, and silver. I hear you, bro. And don't let Light confuse you. My boy is a whale. He's a whale in MILADY. Ricky's in the house. What's going on, bro? Right about now, I'd feel better hovering above the 200. Bro, I'm right there with you. But it would be a lot crazier, Ricky, if we were, if we had broke below the 200 and Bitcoin, we're talking about a $61,000 Bitcoin, right? Which can easily happen. But, we're talking about literally a hair right under the 200, and we all day today have been coming and basically keep retesting that 200-day. So with that being said, that's still a very bullish thing that we're at least, we broke a little bit below the 200, but we keep retesting and retesting. So if we can at least hover around here, we'll break above. If we didn't have the unemployment numbers coming out on Friday, I guarantee you guys, we would have easily, even if we would have saw the same, drop down, we probably would have already broke above. At the very least, we would be above the 200-day, finding that beautiful support above. The only reason why we are down below this 200-day, in my opinion, is just because the market is slightly unsure of what we have coming up in Friday. So that's pretty much what it is with Bitcoin. Looking at the alts, and you guys can go, you can see obviously from my thumbnail, we're in the red today, right? We're in the red today. It's not a beautiful day. A lot of alts are down. They're not, nothing's crashing, right? But you see a lot of alts are pretty much in the range of about 3 to 6% down, with some little outliners like Shiba's down 8%. But remember, Shiba was rallying like crazy last week. So you're going to see a little bit more of a down movement for Shiba just because you have a lot of people that are going to be taking profits of such a big upswing. We saw Shiba up 50% last week, and we covered that. And then out of nowhere, we have Bunk up 9%. Bunk's up 9%. I guarantee if we were to go fishing, we'd probably find out something like Bunk, futures or something's getting listed on Binance. Something's going on with Bunk for it to be up 9% while the rest of the market is pretty much down. Dog with hats up 1%, Beam 2%, Phantom 2%, Sui up 1%. You know, you do have some green, but nothing too crazy. But this is for the daily. If we zoom out and we look at the weekly, this right here, guys, should give you some freaking hopium right here, right? Still looking at the weekly. Look at these numbers, guys. We are still doing perfectly fine. There's going to be retracements, right? If you've been around for, you know, the last bull run, it was not a straight up shot, right? We had days where we were absolutely ripping, and we had some days, even some weeks where we were down, right? And it sucked, and people thought it was, oh, that was it. Just only for the next week to come, and we ended up taking off again, right? Can we talk about, Ricky, can we talk about how September we ended up in the green? Can we talk about that, bro? Me and Ricky were talking about, or we had like a, you know, like a friendly bet. How are we going to end in September? Obviously, I said at the beginning of September that I was going to go against the grain and say that we're most likely going to be ending the month off in the green, whether it's a hair up or maybe a few percent up. I don't know the exact numbers. We'll have to go and search on Twitter, but I'm pretty sure we were up at least 3 to 4% for the end of September, which is a historical September, because if you guys remember, and we've covered the charts, we'll pull it back up. We are normally always in the red out of 11 years of all of Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin's history as far as charting. September's not 8 out of 11 of 8 out of 11 of them. I can't talk. We're normally in the red. So being in the green, and also being in the green, you know, 3-4%. We didn't beat what I was talking about. We were hopefully we were trying to beat that historical 6% back in 2016. We didn't beat it. Bullish is in the house. Taylor, oh guys, we got a new girl in the house. Taylor, what's going on, Taylor, with the eyes? Amor said we need Ricky in the member stream. Damn, Ricky, they need you in the member stream, bro. Ricky said, I'm more than happy to be in the green. No Diddy. I know. I was talking about me and Gina were talking about that in this members only stream, and I was like, you know what? I guarantee, even if we come up in the green, this is going to be the one time where he's like, bro, I'm actually happy that I was not correct. I can't even say you were wrong, right? Because we were both just kind of guessing. So. But yeah, so looking at the weekly, we're not looking terrible, guys. Excuse me, we're not looking terrible. And then obviously looking at the month, pulling up the month, you guys can see these massive gains that we've seen here. I mean, look at this. Nervos up 100%. Bit Sensor, 100%. Sui, 125%. Say, 64%. Hex, 200%. Ordinals, still holding 40%. Phantom, 66.9%. So we got big movement here, guys. We can afford to retrace a little bit. JASMY up 17%. ICP, go down the list. Everything looks great for the monthly, for the weekly. Obviously, when you're looking at the daily, it's a different story. But we're going to have days like this, guys. We're going to have days like this. So put your big boy pants on, your big girl pants on, because we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine, hopefully, right? Amor said, I don't know why, bro. I feel it in my bones. Mog is going to be the headliner this coming run. Amor, always with the Mog. My boy's always with the Mog. He's like, I don't know what it is, but Mog is going to get me rich, guys. Mog, honestly, is not looking bad, bro. It's barely even. I was expecting somewhat of a smaller move. I mean, a bigger move towards the downside. It's barely even retraced at all. So it's holding a lot of its gains. It looks good. Flip said, please check Turbo and CKB. We'll pull it up right now. I know Nervos is freaking killing it, bro. All right, so a couple things with Nervos CKB. Flip. Obviously, 618 right here. Big spot for some support. A couple things that I just catch my eye immediately for this. This is obviously for the short term. You can see we had this nice run up, right? We had a jump up, we ran up, hit our head at the 0.5, and then you can see we found support at the 618, and then look at this. We came up, we couldn't hit our head on the 0.5, and it looks like we're starting to retrace to find that support at the 618. Now I'm going to tell you some stuff, Flip, that you probably aren't going to want to hear on Nervos. If this is, if you're looking for short-term gains, it looks like we might be forming. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat, brother. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much, Flip. I really do appreciate that, brother. It looks like we're forming some kind of a double top, bro. Short term. This isn't like a long, a big double top that's been forming for months. It looks like this is just in the last week. You can see somewhat of a double top, maybe this M pattern, right? Obviously, you can see it, something like this, and usually the M patterns will usually form towards the downside if they play out, right? So I'm not saying that CKB is about to go crash, right? Hopefully it can find that support at the 618, but do not unexpectedly, when you see that we break the 618 and we possibly come back down to retrace to some lower levels below the 618, just because you can see massive run, a double top, almost like an M pattern that's formed. Now, the next spot that we might have as some support in between these fib retracements is obviously going to be on this 200-day moving average. You can see for the 200-day moving average, somewhere around this 1.4, 1.5 cent, that would probably be where this M pattern would play out to find some support. So maybe a good thing if you're looking long term and you feel like you didn't pack your bags up all the way before this big run that we feel like we still are going to be having. This 200-day moving average around the 1.4, obviously not financial advice, but that could be a big spot right there to possibly accumulate. I don't anticipate that you're going to see a breakdown towards the 786 for this project. It just seems like it's been too strong. It's been doing too well. So if this M pattern does play out, like I said, brother, you're probably looking at somewhere around the 200-day at around the 1.4 cent area as far as finding that support. So hopefully it doesn't even break down to that, and you can just basically see the support at the 618, and then the markets just start picking back up. So, but still doesn't look bad. Don't let this double top scare you or anything like that. I just want to prepare you, in the event that we do see some kind of a breakdown below the 618, it's probably going to find some support at the 200-day moving average. So, and then obviously we'll continue to keep monitoring this daily as we move throughout the week. So, and then he also asked about Turbo. What's Turbo looking like as far as market cap? 379 million. So not looking bad at all. For the weekly, it's only down 5-6%, so nothing too crazy. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, looking at the alts, everything's, majority of the market's down 5 or 6% for alts right now. So a couple things with Turbo. You can see obviously the 382 as of now. The 382 did not hold. That's around the what is that? The 0.006, so that 60 mark. You can see previously in the last few days we did find that support on the 382. We broke, making local highs, came back down, retested it only once. This is on the daily, and then you can see as of today, yesterday is pretty much when we retested it when the market was coming down, and you can see since then we did break below the 382, looking like some resistance as of now. So all I can say for Turbo is that, hey, you broke above this downward trend for Turbo, right? So this thing can easily stay very bullish and still come down and bounce off this trend line. It would be a considerable move towards the downside, which I don't think is going to happen. But even if it does, you could easily see an easy 10 to 13% move towards the downside, most likely finding some support somewhere around this 0.5 area and still being bullish, right? Because you can see the trend, right, that we were making, we broke above. So with that being said, I don't know if you're probably in Turbo right now. All I can say is, and this is going for all alts right now, for myself, everything. Right now, obviously, we've seen a nice move towards the upside in the last few weeks. Me personally, like I saw a lot of green in my portfolio. Did not sell. I told you guys this as of last week. Did not sell. Kind of just been waiting, holding. I don't think that we're going to see any kind of a major drop, or I would tell you guys, you know what? I just moved out of my positions and I'm waiting for this drop. I personally have not, because I think this is going to be a fake out, right? I think that the markets are just right now, they're kind of confused. We have uncertainty, like I've said 1,000 times already, with Friday's numbers coming out, unemployment, and then Jerome Powell speaking today. But I think for the most part, once we get past this week, I think we're going to be back up and running. We're in October, guys. Tomorrow is the beginning of October. Things are going to start moving towards the upside. We've been covering this for the last few weeks. Every indicator is pointing towards the upside, right? Every indicator. Now, yeah, things can still happen and we could easily drop towards the downside. But for me personally, I don't think that's going to happen. So why am I bringing this up for Turbo? Because Turbo is moving with the market, right? I don't think Turbo is going to drop down to this 0.5 unless the market as a whole is moving down. So with that being said, all I would say is right now, obviously you want to break above the 382. It's right now it's hitting its head. We want to find that support above the 382. But if you drop down to this 0.5, probably not a bad time, in my opinion, to accumulate. You can see the 0.5 prior was a big spot for some resistance. So you better believe when we drop, if and when this drops down, this will be a big spot for some support, most likely. So, but again, that would be a 13% drop for Turbo. I don't anticipate that happening as of now. The markets don't look, like we're ready to crash or anything like that. It just looks like there's some uncertainty out there, right? And you're just seeing the markets kind of coming down slightly for right now. And most likely we're going to chop sideways. Tomorrow we might come out, Bitcoin's up a little bit. The following day, Bitcoin's back down. You're going to have that choppiness up until we get through this week, Friday. So, Flip, thank you again for the $20 super chat, brother. I do appreciate that. And if you want to look at any other projects, obviously, just let me know, bro. Old, what's going on, bro? Ricky said he bought in on CKB at its lowest in the bear. Nice. Amor said, I've been locked and loaded with MILADY for a year already, maybe more, and now all my savings from the cup of noodles has my next big buy-in. Soon to come, cup of noodles should sponsor me. And Ricky said, with a name like Turbo, it's going to haul. Ricky said he's been buying Maniki. We have that on our watch list. I know Flip was asking me about that as well a while back. We haven't really pulled it up. Look at our watch list though. No FUDs at 0%. We'll take it for right now. Majority of the market is down for DeFi though, if you guys can see. Maniki's doing that sideways. How old is Maniki? 5 months. All right. The reason I was wondering how old Maniki was is because it's kind of going, you can see the stages of like a, you saw that initial pump, maybe try to do another second pump, couldn't really do that. And then you see that kind of profit taken sideways, sits there, kind of goes through a board stage, and you can see it's starting to start moving towards the upside slowly but surely, right? And that's usually what happens with these matured projects. And I say matured because 5 months on DeFi feels like a freaking year or two with any kind of any other project. So you can see for Maniki, it finally broke above the 786, trying to find that support for right now. So I mean, it doesn't look bad. You obviously can see a obvious trend right towards the upside. Looks sloppy as hell, but you get the gist. Nice little trend towards the upside, so it doesn't look bad. Market cap 55 million, liquidity at 13 million. Flip, I got you, bro. Thank you right back, bro. I appreciate that. So, pretty much what I've been saying. If you're just joining, make sure you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe. Guys, we're going to have a bumpy week ahead of us. We really are. This unemployment numbers, it sucks that I wish it was coming out today. It really just, what I'm saying, so we can get it all over with. But, they have it coming out on Friday. So we're going to deal with this kind of up and down stuff for the next few days. But I think after this week's over with, as long as we don't have anything else like lined up that could possibly potentially, like anything like world stage or anything like that, I think really we don't have too much in our way for us to continue to keep moving up, other than obviously we have the looming elections, right? We have, maybe some stuff flaring up in the Middle East, stuff like that. But I think that's the same stuff that we've kind of been dealing with for the last few months. The markets are kind of over all that stuff for right now. So I think if there's nothing that escalates to anything furthermore, as far as us, I think we're going to continue to move up. Another thing that I've noticed is the DXY. DXY right now at around $100. It has been slowly but surely still moving towards the downside, making lower highs, if you guys can see, right? We obviously saw this big drop, but I'm talking about recently for the DXY. You guys can see slowly but surely it's been making lower highs, right? So that's another good sign that the dollar is getting weaker, which usually brings up risk assets, right? And then looking at the stock market today, stock market pretty much flatlined. It was in the red all day today, but you guys can see the S&P 0.4 up, NASDAQ 0.2 up, Dow Jones 0.04 up, and the VIX is down, obviously, given that the market is in the green, right? So you guys can see the stock market, it's kind of flatlined. We saw some downward movement as the market opened up, but as of now, you guys can see when they closed it around 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, it kind of just rebound where it was at, pre-market, and pretty much it's just sitting there. And I'm thinking that that's most likely what we're going to see. Crypto, a little bit more of a movement. You can see obviously Bitcoin for right now currently down about 2, almost 3%. Gold, same thing. Gold and silver, not really doing too much, down maybe 0.03%, and silver down 0.1%. So nothing too crazy on that. So, and I bring those up because, if you saw just across the board everything in the red, you'd be like, ugh, everything right now is coming down. It doesn't look good. This is just, people basically that trade crypto, particularly, not us, but you have the people that are kind of just like flaky, selling off on Bitcoin right now, just kind of waiting because they look at Bitcoin as a riskier asset compared to the stock market, right? Old said, Crip, I just joined a few minutes ago, but historically October is usually a good month for crypto, right? It is, bro. It is. We'll pull that up here real quick so you guys can see. This is Ash Crypto. Shout out to Ash Crypto. He said, you guys can see basically, even though we are on a little bit of a move towards the downside, you guys can see we have the U.S. elections coming, FTX distribution, China money printer, money supply all-time high, and Fed cut rates. All bullish things. Old was talking about this right here. So, obviously they call it Uptober. I call it Pumptober. But you guys can see, historically, looking at the last like 10, 12 years, we've only had, I didn't even realize that, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Historically, from 2013, we only had 2 red months in October, guys. So usually October is probably the most bullish month that you can have for crypto. Even during a freaking bear market, we were up 5%. Looking back in like 2022, you can see we're actually up 5% in October. So we should be seeing some good numbers in October, hopefully. Troy said NFK to the moon. I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. Ricky said, my leash took a crap today. It got delisted from... No way, bro. Damn. I wonder why they... I wonder why they delisted it particularly. We can pull that up and find out. Holy crap. Look at that. Down 20%, bro. What happened? Let's see here. Major Bitcoin exchange delists 5 altcoins. Prices plunge. So OKX announces delisting of 5 altcoins. It delisted Ren? Holy crap. That's Ren, right? Render? So in a surprising move, OKX announced the removal of 6 spot trading pairs involving 5 different tokens. The pair affected include Ren, Jury, Leash, Orb, and Kin, or Kine, whatever that is. According to the exchange, this decision was made to maintain a healthy trading environment. OKX clarified that the delisting process was based on a routine performance review, user feedback, and compliance with the OKX token delisting hidden guide. All right. That's crazy. I mean, it sucks, right? It sucks, but I mean, it doesn't mean the end of this project. I wonder why they particularly I'm guessing the volume. I mean, it's at $3 million, but that's because you're seeing 197% up from 3 million. So I'm guessing that they probably delisted this project particularly because of low volume, is what I would imagine. But who knows? What stinks is that this project, other than like you have OKX, which this is going to get dropped, it really isn't on a lot of major exchanges. You have Crypto.com and Gate.io being the big ones that I can see. Other than that, and BitGet, but other than that, it's not on a lot of trading platforms, central exchanges. You know what, bro? It happens. Hey, well, I will tell you this, bro. If you do bring your average down, right, you're getting a 20% discount. I mean, the market cap is low as hell. If this thing does, down the road take off for whatever reason, this thing will shoot up. Another project that dropped like crazy today, guys, that I told you guys to be very cautious about? Hamster Combat, down 59% after airdrop. Now, I'm telling you guys, I'm going to start getting a little bit more in detail, and I'm going to start freaking taking these sound clips, right? And I'm going to be forcing them on you. Not that you guys don't believe me, but last week we had somebody in the chat asking me about Hamster Combat, right? And they were telling me, we read into an article about the airdrops, and about the users on Telegram accumulating Hamster Combat, right? And I told you guys, even without the accumulation of the telegrams, whenever you see airdrops or you're seeing airdrops and a big presale, if you didn't get involved in those airdrops or the presales, do not buy in on the project on the first, even the first month. Usually you want to stay away from the project. I know if you're very bullish on it, it's hard, but at the same time, you don't want to get involved in that, because what happens is right when it drops, you're going to see this massive sell pressure coming on this project, right? And I called it for this. Down 59% after the airdrop, because they probably airdropped a massive amount, which a lot of these projects do that because the longevity, believe it or not, it actually helps. It puts out that circulation and gets people trading on the project, right? Short term, it's going to cause probably a lot of sell pressure in the project. So you can see, when did this article come out? Is this the 30th? All right, I want to make sure this is relevant. So Hamster Combat token fell sharply days after the viral Telegram minigame airdropped millions of tokens to users. Trading data revealed that Hamster plunged nearly 60% since its token generation event and exchange listing on September the 26th. Hamster debut price was about 1 cent across platforms like Binance and decentralized trading venue EB. At press time, the cryptocurrency was trading for less than 0.005, so basically less than a half a cent, and was steadily declining since its late September launch. Hamster Combat became a popular mini-game on the open network, TON, and private messenger app Telegram, promising to outshine other projects like Altcoin. Its pre-sale launch growth seemingly underrated by listing delays and postponements, as over 150 million users logged into Hamster Combat's official game. I don't think this project's done with, though. I'm going to be honest with you. But let's pull this up real quick. I was having a problem pulling it up the other day. Let me see. Here it is. I mean, look at this chart. We're looking at the daily, so it's like there's nothing here. I mean, that's a typical, what right here. If you just showed me this chart and you didn't tell me anything about the project, didn't the name, nothing, I would say this project most likely had a big airdrop or a pre-sale. Why? Because you can see this initial freaking candle like crazy. You had people jumping in because it was a new project, and they're all either selling for a loss or still holding, getting absolutely wrecked right now. Absolutely wrecked right now. So it is what it is. I will say this project from TradingView dropped on the 26th, right? So you're talking about 4 days ago, technically going live trading. If you are bullish on this project long term, I would literally probably wait a solid 2 to 3 more weeks before you jump in on this project. This is going to be very volatile. You're going to see probably a continuous move towards the downside until all that sell pressure finally ends. You're going to see a little bit of movement towards the up, and whoever did not sell back here is going to take advantage of any kind of movement towards the upside. You're going to see more down, right? And eventually it's going to flatline, and then it's going to probably start moving towards the upside. So I'd be very cautious with this and any other projects in the future in regards to pre-sales or any reward system that rewards you on that token, right? So what do I mean by that? If you ever get into a project that's like staking, if it's not like Cardano or Ethereum or something like that, that's like a really big project. If it's a smaller project and they're like, stake your whatever token and we'll give you more of these tokens, APY, that's always going to cause sell pressure for that project. And usually they're not sustainable, right? And I always see these projects for the last 5 years, they'll come out, maybe they start off really well, but the people that are left in there that are trying to stake and they just keep buying more and more, bro, there's so much, you look at the charts and it's just basically continuous downward movement because it's always going to create more sell pressure for these projects. Another article I wanted to touch base on, Bitcoin ends historic September with a dip, but breakout may not come before U.S. elections. So this is a little bit more bearish, so bear with me. You get that? A little bearish, so bear with me. Despite October being historically a strong month for crypto assets, option traders expect further downside over the next few weeks, with a rally coming post-election. Now, this basically contradicts everything we read last week, right? Everything we read last week basically said that getting into October, we're going to start rallying. Now we see 1 day, 2 days down, and you have this bearish stuff coming out basically saying, well, we actually might not see any kind of rally until after the election. So they're saying mid-November, end of November is when they technically are going to see some kind of a rally. I don't believe it. I think we're going to see a solid October, but we are going to see some bumpiness getting into the election, that election week, first week of November. So crypto fell sharply on Monday, with Bitcoin nearing the $63,000 level during the U.S. session, finishing on a sour note of what otherwise was a sharply stellar September for the digital asset. Bitcoin dipped 3.7% over the past 24 hours, while Ethereum and Solana held up relatively well with a 2.8 and 1.9 declines respectively. Several altcoin majors and the broad market CoinDesk 20 index tumbled more than 5% during the same period, including Ripple, Cardano, Polkadot, and Chainlink. Crypto-related stocks also got slammed lower, with multiple Bitcoin miners including Marathon Digital, BitDeer, Hunt 8, and CleanSpark plunging 5 to 10%. Crypto exchanges Coinbase fell over 6%, while MicroStrategies was more than 3% lower shortly before the close of the trade. A look at traditional markets show U.S. equity indexes flatlined for most of the day before heading lower towards the later hours of the session. While key Europe markets sold off 1 to 2%, Japan's incoming prime minister, won't be able to pronounce his name, said that the monetary policy must remain accumulative as a trend. According to the Reuters report, his comments came after his surprise weekend elevation to the PM prime minister role set off a 5% plunge in the Nikkei on Monday. And remember, when Japan dropped, this is exactly what happened. We saw the Nikkei, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, plunge, and it actually brought the freaking U.S. market and Bitcoin down with it, believe it or not. So that could have played a role as well on why we saw, some movement towards the downside. Today, honestly, with everything given, reading this bearish article, we didn't really see 3% down for Bitcoin. Come on, guys. We're going to be fine. In the U.S. Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell tempered expectations on Monday that future rate cuts will be as aggressive as September's 50 basis point cut. We knew this. We knew they're not going to be able to just go 50 down. I told you guys that I thought the best way for us to do it was 25 for the remainder of the year. They did 50. So what do you think is going to happen the next time around? And let's pull that up. What do you think is going to happen on the next meeting? We have 37 days before I stroll down and we show what the market's calling for. What do you guys think? You guys think that we're going to see a reduction of 0.25%? Do you guys think we're going to see another 50 basis point deduction, or do you think we're going to see a pause? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. I don't feel like pulling up a poll right now, but I'm going to tell you guys while you guys are putting those beautiful comments on there. I personally think that we're going to most likely see a pause is what I think. I think we're going to see a pause just because the Feds came so aggressive on the last FOMC meeting, the first actual FOMC meeting that we saw reductions in interest rates. I think we're going to probably most likely see a pause. And then with that being said, we have November, which is coming up. Right? And then we have December. I think December, right before the end of the year, they do a 0.25% reduction. That's my opinion. Jay's calling for a 0.25%. So I probably am wrong if Jay's calling for a 0.25%. You guys can see right here that, let's see here. So this is for November the 7th, the day after the election too. Keep that in mind. That it looks like the market right now is calling for either a pause or a 0.25%. Right, you have 62.9% calling for either a pause or a 0.25% reduction, and then you have 37% right now calling for some kind of a 0.25 to 0.5%. Now, these numbers are going to fluctuate like crazy, right? As we get closer, we still have over a month until we get there. But I'm telling you, my opinion, I'm calling it now. I think this is going to probably start moving up to where we get to like 80, 90% of the markets calling for some kind of a pause. Again, just because the Feds reduce interest rates so aggressively, that 50% basis point was a historical move, that I think you won't normally ever see something like that unless something in the back end is troubling. I've been saying that. So just jumping back on to the rest of this article. Let's see here. So looking forward, I quote what Jerome Powell said. Looking forward, if the economy evolves broadly as expected, policy will move over time towards a more neutral stance, but we are not on any preset course. The risks are two-sided, and we will continue to make our decision meeting by meeting. Overall, the economy is in a solid shape. We intend to use our tools to keep it there. And this is pretty much sums up the whole, Jerome Powell speech today. It's pretty much, it was like, he pretty much came out and just said, he didn't hint towards, if they're going to, if they're actually going to reduce any interest rates for November, which he's not going to do that. But sometimes he'll kind of give you a little bit of a little maybe if he's a little bit more dovish or hawkish. Today, he was just flatlined, right? Flatlined. And I think people took that as, all right, that's a little bit hawkish, right? Because there was no dovish meaning good, right? Like they're going to reduce interest rates. Hawkish meaning that they're going to not reduce interest rates. They're going to do more pauses, right? With that being said, like I said, that flat line, people are looking at it as hawkish. They're looking at it as, well, shit, he didn't give us any kind of indication that they're feeling confident about more reductions in interest rates on this next meeting. This must be hawkish. And that's why we didn't see any bit of a big rebound after he was done talking. Because remember, the sell-off that we saw today was already this morning. It was already this morning, started last night, this morning, and kind of up until the meeting, right? While the meeting was going, we saw a little bit more of a downward move. Nothing too crazy, but you know, as far as with Bitcoin, we kind of rebounded where we were at pre Jerome Powell, and you can see where we're sitting right now is around 63,600. We haven't really seen much all day. This was all day today right here. This was all day today, and we didn't really see much go on. We saw these little small swings, but nothing really happening, and this is because people were kind of like, after the meeting, like, all right, what the hell, right? Like there was nothing, it wasn't really pointing in any what direction, so you didn't really see confidence coming back in, saying, all right, well, it sounded like they were ready, we're going to continue to reduce interest rates, let's get back into the market. It didn't sound like they were like, well, we're definitely pulling a pause. So you see people just kind of sitting there like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to wait and see what the job reports is going to come out to on Friday. And this is what I've been saying. We're going to probably see some dull movement, volatility, you know, here and there, up and down. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're kind of just hanging around this area. We could even break back into this level that we had right here that was giving us some big support at around this 62.4, the bottom of it around 62.3, top of it around 62.6, somewhere around there. You can see this is where we were kind of hanging out in a comfort zone before we saw this, you know, initial leg up that we've seen in the last week. So we could easily drop back down to there, right? And what do you think was going to happen if Bitcoin drops down to those levels? You're going to see Bitcoin, altcoins retrace a little bit. But I will tell you, us getting back into that little safe buffer zone right there is only about 1.7% away. So it's not like we're looking for this major drop or anything like that, right? So that's pretty much what I think is going to happen for this week. We're pretty much just going to see the same action until we get these freaking numbers dropping on Friday. And this is why I was saying, I'm like, damn it, why are they dropping it on Friday? Just give it to us now. Just give us the unemployment numbers now so we can freaking move on from this. So, but we'll be all right, guys. We're in October. Even if we see the first week, right? We're coming off of September, a green September. So even if we see a little bit of, you know, some first week of October slightly down, we'll be all right. Looking to see if there's anything big that just dropped on Twitter. You know what? Shout out to Crypto Rover putting out a chart. So this was as of earlier. Yeah, this was as of earlier because you can see what was this. Oh yeah, this was early this morning before we saw a little bit more of a drop. So before we saw a little bit more of a drop, you can see that we saw this run up. You know, this is zoomed out, but you saw this W pattern, right? Obviously, we broke out, but we came back to retest the top of this W pattern. So they were basically indicating some kind of a move towards the upside. What I think they didn't take into consideration, and nothing, Crypto Rover is awesome. I'm sure they didn't take into consideration, how Jerome Powell was going to come out today, right? And unfortunately, that's what we were pretty much at the whim of Jerome Powell. Pretty much, if he was coming out hawkish or dovish. So. Look at this. When was this? This was yesterday, right when we started to see the drop. Bitcoin's been trending towards 66 all day. Let me see where we're at now. Ay, ay, ay. We're going to be good, guys. We'll be fine. So with that being said, guys, just have your seatbelts on. Things are going to be bumpy for this week. Ups and downs, but we'll be fine. If we do see any kind of considerable dips, obviously I'm going to be on here telling you guys that I'm going to be definitely taking advantage of some of those dips on some of these projects. Let me see how Ordinals is doing. I haven't really been paying attention. 37. So she's coming down slightly. She's coming down slightly. You know, you look at this and you're like, I should have sold at $42, almost $43, but it's like, to take the risk of giving away my position, you know, where I told you guys I've been buying on Ordinals down here at the buy zone at like $20, $25. You know, Ordinals, for me to sell right now or even sell up there, yes, I would have made some damn good profit. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to sit here and then now I have to pray for the damn market to come down, you know, for me to get back in on a good position. I don't want to do that. We haven't moved up enough for me to be like, all right, I need to secure this bag. You know, as far as like the potential that I know Ordinals in the market, what we're going to be seeing. So I'm right here with you guys. I'm still holding on, you know, off of these big dips that we were accumulating in the last few months. So, and I'm going to stay here and we're going to ride this thing out. No diddy, right? Because we're going to be moving up. We're going to be fine, guys. But other than that, that's pretty much it, guys. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys slap those likes. If you're new around here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Ricky's coming in with the late comment saying, trust me, hang on to your Ordinals. I sold it and it pumped like to 100. Ricky, you know that's what's going to happen, bro. You know it's what's going to happen. I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm going to sell off. I'm going to take this 50% gain real quick and then boom. Ordinals is going to be up freaking like 300%. I ain't doing it. Like I was gonna say, like if we drop, it is what it is, right? If we drop, it is what it is. I'm gonna continue to accumulate. Is what I'm gonna do. Same thing for Miro. I'm gonna continue to accumulate. Miro. I mean, if you look, I was up like crazy just off of this little run, right? That little ass run. You know what I'm saying? Like just off that little run, I was up like crazy. So imagine when Miro is back up to 20, 30, 40, 50 cents. You know, so I'm not really worried about the small little gains that I could have just had, right? Trying to time the market and sell and then wait for it to drop again. If we do drop, all I'm doing is just accumulating more because I know we have some big months ahead of us, right? Just let everything play out, guys. Don't get psyched out. Have patience. I mean, if you've been in crypto for the last few months, the last few years, the last few bull runs, I'm sure the one thing that you've learned is patience. I know I have. So Ricky said, nice market cap on Miro. Yeah, I mean, bro, Miro is poised to blow. It really is. No diddy on that one either. And I always, bro, in the Miro community, it's just like Binance. We'll see. Binance drops Miro on here. Volume, not bad. That's what I'm saying. Like, for $80 million project being at around $15 million in volume, not bad at all for Miro. So, we'll see how it plays out, guys. But other than that, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys have a fantastic night. We will be right back here tomorrow at the same time. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.